Thank you. So, on behalf of my director, Mr. Yusuf Al-Ali, I would like to present for you today the future of public safety in our city, Dubai. So today we'll discuss several points. First, I will introduce for you the project progress of our LTE private network, and then we'll cover some aspects about the future of public safety, answering some of the key questions in the public safety domain. So starting with the milestones of our project, we already started back in 2015, and by earlier 2016, we awarded Nokia as our solution provider for LTE network. And then we started installation of our LTE sites over the main roads of Dubai. And by GITEX last month of October 2016, we have our soft launch opening of the LTE network. Then also we are working currently on increasing the numbers of the sites to cover all over Dubai by by beginning of 2017. After that, we will have our network testing and validation over the whole network to close the project and then to enhance the services by end of the second quarter of 2017. Okay, so this is a graph that shows the LTE coverage plan earlier in our soft launch last month with the main roads, and then we are aiming till end of this year to enhance the coverage and capacity as well. And then by beginning of 2017, we'll also reach the remote areas of Dubai city. So talking about the LTE and what LTE will offer as services, as you know, like the voice communication will still remain important, and we cannot compromise on voice. However, we will offer new services on our private LTE platform and network, such as like enabling the IoTs, the video streaming, and all the data evolution that is happening nowadays. And of course, this is upon the availability of the standards of the 3GPP standards. So whenever there are any standards, we will implement them in our network. This will provide us with lots of capabilities, like the voice and high-quality voice and video over our LTE network, real-time video transmission and transfer, dispatcher and control rooms, to broadcast a video instead of just a voice or a command, and also push-to-talk and push-to-video services. We have looked into several options, and as my colleague, the TCCA chairman mentioned, like we looked into the commercial network, considering that all of the government and all of the organizations among Dubai, they will use the commercial operator. And then also we look into another solution, which is the option 2, everyone having its own way of enabling its communication. Like some of the agencies will use their own solutions, some of them will depend on the commercial network, and some of them will depend on Nedaa network. However, this is very complicated model, and it will be very difficult to integrate all of the government and semi-government and agencies among the city together whenever needed. So we thought about the third option, which is the dedicated network, and which is the optimum solution in order to bring all of the agencies under one umbrella and under one network operator, which is dedicated for public safety and to be able to communicate whenever needed during the critical communication accidents. So what will the future of public safety look like, and how the development of LTE and IoT positively impact the public safety? How will the technologies affect the workforce? This what will be answered by Dr. Ali Raza, the professor of RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, Dubai. So welcome him to this.
Good morning. Just to introduce myself again, my name is Ali Raza. I'm a professor at Rochester Institute of Technology here in Dubai, which is a branch campus of our main university in New York. I've been with Nedaa for just over a year in a consulting capacity, looking into the design and deployment of the private LTE network. So I'm just going to quickly talk about the development in LTE and IoT and how this will positively impact public safety. So as we've heard earlier on, there is a lot of drive from 3GPP with the SA6 working group, and obviously with the release of the standardization earlier this year for mission critical push to talk. So clearly there's some very good positive direction there. And as most of us are aware, there's a proliferation of IoT devices in the market. There are so many different types of technologies being classified as IoT. There are different types of solutions and capabilities being devised. And clearly, there will be some of these capabilities that will come into the public safety space. Like recently, one of the applications I was looking at is having an IoT device in the holster of a police officer's gun. The minute he pulls the gun out, you have real-time data being sent to command and control with the GPS location. When the gun is fired off, you have an IoT sensor inside the gun that can tell the GPS location and the number of shots actually fired. So clearly, there are going to be a lot of other innovative ways of how IoT can be used. And again, the inclusion of narrowband IoT by 3GPP is another step forward in the right direction, positive for public safety. And this really will ensure that we have IoT solutions that can securely move our data and not rely on the ISM bands, which can be prone to interference that we have today in a lot of IoT solutions. However, the key thing is the term IoT, which is Internet of Things. And that really brings me to think about what happened during this US presidential election campaign. On the 21st of October, IoT devices were hacked, and a DNS service, a distributed denial of service attack on a DNS service, brought down or caused an outage in internet services. Now, do we really have the space to accommodate this kind of risk in the world of public safety? And that really makes me think that should we really be calling these devices IoT devices, Internet of Things? Or should we go in the direction that Nedaa has gone and the chairman mentioned earlier on of having a dedicated network not connected to the internet? And that really, in my opinion, is the right solution. Having devices that are not connected to the internet and maybe considering changing the term in the world of public safety, Internet of Things to Intranet of Things. So we can leverage the same capabilities. We can leverage all the enhancements, the evolution that is happening in the world of 3GPP with narrowband IoT and really provide the right solutions for our public safety workforces. So this is a thought that I would like to leave everyone with, at least for today and for the next 2 days, and I'll be happy to maybe discuss this further in terms of how can we secure our IoT devices so that they're reliable for our public safety. And this really is just an example of a healthcare use case where a patient calls the ambulance service. While the ambulance is on the way, they can get live updates on metrics related to the patient. And the hospital can also be preparing with updates on live metrics from the patient using the Nedaa Mission Critical LTE network. But if this is available and accessible through the internet for a hacker, and we get very good statistics from the patient, you don't want the ambulance service turning back and saying, well, you seem okay, so we're not going to bother. So these are some of the risks that we have to really think about. Okay, the next thing I would like to talk about is how will these technologies affect our workforce? So there are 4 key aspects, really. One is mobility and integration of apps and devices. And what does this really mean? This is being able to provide computational power to our workforces while they're out and about. They do not have to be sitting in the back office to access the computational power that they need to be efficient. So it's really about improving efficiency. And what we want to do is we want to be able to provide them seamless connectivity for these devices that they're going to be using out there in the field, making sure that they are secure, making sure that they're reliable, survivable, which we heard about earlier on today, and also making sure that the users are prioritized in terms of quality of service, allowing better interworking amongst different public safety agencies, government agencies, and semi-government agencies. And this is really what will lead to real-time intelligence that will help make our cities safer. And obviously, what we want to do is make sure that the communication being provided is unified and efficient. And I would like to maybe just take this moment just to talk a little bit about the research collaboration between Nedaa and Rochester Institute of Technology here in Dubai. So we already have the LTE and Wi-Fi direct interworking, which was standardized by 3GPP, right? And what we're looking at is a very specific use case where you have devices that are being covered by the LTE network. You have LTE coverage, and then a group of these devices happen to move out of the LTE coverage. Now, obviously, with the development of D2D standardization and LTE direct coming in the pipeline, there are going to be solutions, but what we're looking at right now is how can we provide these capabilities using Wi-Fi direct so that our authorized users can continue critical communications when they happen to move out of an LTE coverage area. And part of this joint effort between RIT and Nedaa is really to look at the best deployment models that can be used, and also looking at cases, for example, how can a device be taken straight out of the box and be able to be used with this kind of capability. So just to finish off, I would like to, first of all, thank Nedaa for giving Rochester Institute of Technology the opportunity to share the stage with them today. And if there are any questions from any of you in terms of research collaboration, please, you're most welcome to visit the Nedaa stand. I'll be there as well, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.